money that goes to assistance to the Palestinian Authority, and the payments that have been made over the years from some of that money to the Palestinian Liberation Organization that they use to pay families of suicide bombers. I tell you, that's like grading on a blackboard as far as a lot of us are concerned. I'm sure that's on your radar, and I realize that there's other sides of that as far as those payments into the West Bank or into Gaza, but this is something that really galls on us, and anything you can do about that would be greatly appreciated.
Well, let me assure you, Senator, it was discussed directly when President Abbas made his visit with his delegation to Washington. The President raised it, but then I had a bilateral, much more detailed bilateral with him later that day, and I told him, you absolutely must stop making payments to family members of, quote, martyrs. I said, it's one thing to help orphans and children, but when you designate the payment for that act, that has to stop. They have changed their policy. At least I have been informed they've changed that policy, and their intent is to cease the payments to the family members of those who've committed murder or violence against others. So we've been very clear with them that this is simply not acceptable to us. It is certainly not acceptable to the American people.
Well, and Mr. Abbas probably has something to say about the West Bank, but you get deep into Gaza, I don't know how much influence he's got there.
Well, and I would say in Gaza we are working with others who have provided assistance and funding into Gaza, much of which is, as you know, it's to relieve the humanitarian problem, rebuilding homes, hospitals, schools, but there's always a lot of leakage of that money. And so we're working carefully with others as to how do you help. And the Israeli government is supportive of stabilizing Gaza by providing these type of humanitarian actions. We just can't have the money leaking in to the hands of those who would commit violence with it.
Thanks for the job you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I do want to thank you for bringing up the Taylor Force issue, and I just want to say to the committee that it's my hope that before we go home for August recess that we will have passed out of committee a Taylor Force-like piece of legislation to address that issue. So thank you for raising it.